what does self-love mean to you? Like, how do you practice self-love to yourself?
So you know when you say that we've romanticized it, you're so right.
Yeah,
because
like,
we've made it into a cloak that we wear, and we're not doing the work.
Hi, my name is Anosike, and welcome to another episode of Unpack with Nay. In today's episode, I'm joined by Debbie Chinasa Collins, a former beauty queen, an entrepreneur, and we're going to be unpacking a lot about self-love, self-care, and breaking and rebirth. I hope you enjoy watching this episode. If you do not forget to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe, and I hope you enjoy. Do you meditate?
I do.
Really?
I do, actually.
Like daily?
Daily.
You just like took a deep breath.
I had to, because I was starting to like...
Or drift away.
Drift away.
Yes, just like
bring myself back.
I love that. How many minutes a day do you meditate for?
So I pray. When I wake up, I'll pray, and then I just keep quiet. Usually I used to do it with like a YouTube. There's this guy, I forgot his name now, he's an Indian guy.
Jay Shetty?
No, another guy.
Okay,
an older guy.
Jay
Oprah likes that guy. I don't know, I forgot his name. And then there was a meditation thing that he did.
I think I know. Yeah, I think I know.
He's a popular guy, but
it's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube.
Yeah, I think I know.
But his name isn't coming.
Yeah, but I've done it.
And then I just keep quiet. This is helping me actually talk, because like my brain is starting to work, because it was offline when I was sitting there. And then and I just stay quiet and I listen to the sounds and I pray sometimes, and that's what I do.
So like you have like a whole morning routine.
A whole morning routine, and I journal. So when you said about journaling, that's like my go-to thing. Yeah. Yes.
I feel like I didn't used to journal up until I think my brother got me my first actual like proper journal for journaling in 2020. I think it has like my initials customized on it, and I feel like it's just something about getting a customized gift. Like you just want to use it.
Yes.
It's so pretty. It's red.
Aww.
Yeah. So you just every time you open it, you're like, I need to write. So I have like 4 journals in total.
Beautiful.
So I have my gratitude and affirmation journal, I have my creative journal, I have my ranting journal, and I have one where I just like scribble my thoughts.
Nice.
But the thing is, and I have another one, the 5-minute journal. So I have 5 journals.
Okay.
But the thing about journaling for me is I want to do it every day. I feel like that's my ideal morning routine, but like I just don't. Some days it's just like, yes, you have to journal, but like getting into a routine is something that I have struggled with, I think. Do you have a routine?
No.
Really?
I like to live life as it comes. I like to flow with life. That. So yesterday, something funny happened. I was going through my things, and when you said you have a red journal, my first journal was red, and I got it in 2006. So I was going through my things, and I saw this red journal. I was like, wow. So I open it, and there's all these thoughts. So that's why I like journaling, because
I love it too.
You are basically morphing into a different person every year, even every month or every day. And as you keep track of it, you're able to say, well, when I was 12 years old, I used to think like this. Because like I was 14, I was in high school. And I remember most of my stuff was about boys. I'd be like,
of course.
So this boy, and I was reading and I was just reliving memories. And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And then I remember even another page, I was talking about choices. And I said, wow, so for you at 14 to talk about choices and to talk about self-love, there was something there. And I was like, wait, Debbie, you've been doing this. You know, it was so great.
And it makes sense that you wrote a book, Woman Like the Sea. Like, it makes sense. Like, when you go back and you see, 14-year-old she did this, it makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense.
For me, I had a relationship that when I got out, it felt like I was running mad. So when you are like, did this happen? Or am I overthinking it? Or could it have happened a different way? And then one day I was just going through my ranting journal, and I saw everything I had written. So I'm like, I'm not mad.
You're not crazy.
Like when you take stock of your feelings, when you go back and you read it, it's just like everything makes sense.
I feel like more people need to actually write, because another thing that writing does for me is it helps me know myself.
I think that's the first key to knowing yourself, because you have to sit with your feelings. Like you have to actually sit and introspect. I'm always begging my friends. My friend the other day was just telling me, she feels anxious, she's da-da-da-da. And I feel like every time she tells me this, I'm like, okay, why are you anxious? Oh, I don't know. No, that's not true. You just haven't sat with it.
You have to unpack it.
Thank you. You have to unpack it. You haven't like sat with it and like thought, okay. Because sometimes like the journals have like journal prompts, but I feel like because I've gotten so used to like journaling, like I don't use the prompts, but I had the 5-minute journal which has like a lot of prompts and all of that. But if you actually sit and ask yourself the question that you are thinking of, like anxiety, okay, I'm anxious, right? Why am I anxious?
And then you'll be like,
it's just you.
Last week something happened and this is what you reacted to it. It will start flowing.
It will flow. So it's like, okay, if you're anxious, what are you going to do about it? So, okay, so when you actually write down like, oh, what am I anxious about? And you write down the things that have made you anxious, right? Then you can find practical solutions for it. So if you're sitting down and you're like, I don't know why I'm anxious, you're never going to find a solution. You're just going to keep winging it. Every day you wake up, you're anxious. Okay, what happens? Like, how are you going to get out of that? God,
living in Lagos, and particularly for Nigerians, we bottle up so much. And that's why everybody's so angry. On the roads, we're angry. In your relationship, you're angry.
Everybody's upset.
The only time maybe you have a slight break is when you're at church, and but even then, you're still, you're fighting the devil there. So you're angry still. There's never a break for you to be like, you know what, let me just calm down. And why am I always angry in traffic? Like, it's not normal to be angry constantly. It's not normal to constantly be anxious.
And it's not the person that is driving in front of you that's making you angry.
It is something. You have to find it. And you know what we do a lot? We actually just go past it. Like something happens to us, and instead of taking stock and saying, okay, so this happened. What was my responsibility in this situation? How will I not do this tomorrow? We do not do that. We say, you know what, on to the next one. And then you're surprised when you repeat that exact same move next week.
That's what I'm saying about the anxiety. Like, if you're anxious, you need to know exactly why you're anxious. Because why you're anxious today is different from why you're anxious the next day. You just have to take stock of it. And I feel like the thing is just fear. So after a tough time in my life, right, I just couldn't journal because I was so scared to confront my feelings. I feel like if I journaled how I was feeling, I would break. Like, I would lose it, and I was not ready to break. Like, break, that kind of tears, like the release that you have to cry. I was not ready.
Can I say something about breaking? Breaking isn't so bad.
I know that's the crazy thing, because of how I was so stuck in the mindset at the time of like the hurt and like all the emotions I was feeling. I know that personally, but sometimes when you're so low, it's so hard for you to like affirm the things that you would normally reaffirm to yourself. Do you understand? Because the normal angel is like, okay, let's go, keep going. But this one, I was just like, I can't do it. I can't, like, I just couldn't. And then eventually, I don't know what pushed me, but I did journal. And I feel like, the thing about when you cry on journal, sometimes, even if it dries, it's there. So if you open my ranting journal, I remember how I felt when I was journaling my thoughts there. But after I finished journaling, it was so freeing. Like, you just let it go. Like, now that you've addressed how you're feeling, we can move on.
And then you can plant new seeds. So that's what I love about breaking, because when you break, you're basically, I don't see breaking as something so bad. It depends on how you react to it. But what I see about breaking is when you break, you're giving yourself a chance to form into something different,
I love that.
into something else. So there's like a lot of possibilities that you could encounter from that breaking. So if you're breaking and you're breaking open, basically, it's like the dawn of a new day. Let me not sound too poetic, but
you're a writer.
When you break open, and depending on how you react to that breaking, it can be something beautiful that comes out of that breaking. And we shy away from breaking, so we keep ourselves in places where it's like, I don't want to break. Oh my goodness, if I break, what if you break and it's a beautiful butterfly that comes out of that breaking? I
can't lie. This show, Unpack with Nay, is from a breaking.
And it's so beautiful.
Thank you. Honestly, it's just one of those things that I feel like sometimes when you're going through something, you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. But like in hindsight, like looking back at it now, I'm just like, if this thing didn't happen, I wouldn't be here right now. And the thing about breaking is, what if you don't pick yourself back up? Those are like the thoughts that you would have at the time, right? Like, it sounds good saying it now, but at the time, it's just, everything looks so bleak.
Yes, and
like
dark.
It looks so bleak. And I feel like just picking yourself up, especially when you don't have like the right support system, it can be so hard. For me, I'm so thankful that I have like an incredible like support system, like my family, just everything.
I love that. I follow that. I always see you talk about your dad and your brothers, and I'm just like, wow, this is amazing. You know? You're so loved.
So for me, it's like when people struggle with like having support systems or having friends, I'm just like, I have three siblings, and I have three people who love me and who would always hold me up before. I think, to be honest, it's made me very lax in certain relationships, because even like with like say romantic relationships or friendships, I can easily feel like people are replaceable. Because like I have this solid
I don't really need you people. I don't really need you guys.
Before I add like my best friends and some of my really good friends, you know. So even before the best friends, like you have 3 friends.
Yes.
And you know, there's just something so beautiful about that. Tell me about like the journey that you've been on this year.
This year has been a year of breaking.
I love that.
Intense breaking.
Yeah.
Wow. It's been a beautiful year. So I'm a very optimistic person.
Yeah.
Like I always see the glass as...
I feel like before we even like formed a connection and started like talking and stuff, that's like the first thing that attracted me to you. Like just like positive vibes, like just lights. You know what you were saying about like the other guests before, like, oh, how she just like radiates. That's so you. Like it's just, without you even saying that you're an optimistic person, I know that you're an optimistic person. So
thank you for saying that. Yeah, it's working. But I'm super optimistic. If something bad happens to me, yes, I'll cry about. I'm a crier. I will cry about everything. I cry when I watch movies. I cry when, if you shout at me, I will most likely cry. And I'm an adult, but it's like tears are releasing. There's some form of relief for me. So this year has just been. It took a huge strain on me emotionally, mentally. I'm building 2 businesses with my sister. I'm trying to find myself. I'm trying to navigate relationships, you know, and it's like, wow, life comes at you really, really fast. Like it really does. Like when people say life comes at you fast, it comes at you fast. Because like you wake up in the morning and it's like, hey, well, today is boring. There's nothing, you know, my business, I have to keep at it. I have to build this, I have to build that. And you have some major disappointment in your life and something bad happens to you. You lose something important to you. And you're just like, why? What's the point? Why am I even starting this? Why am I even here? Why am I, you know, this year I actually had to ask God. I was like, God, exactly why did you bring, you know, because wherever I was before I came to this earth, particularly Nigeria, then I must have been doing something there. So maybe you should have left me there instead of being... I had that conversation with God where it was just like, it's hard. It really is hard. And then when you wake up and you come out, people's like, Debbie, you're so positive. And I'm like...
you don't know. You don't know about it.
You don't know. So yeah, this year has been very intense. I would describe this year as a very intense year. But it's been a beautiful year. It's been... I feel like I am unpacking a lot of... but I feel like I'm unpacking a lot of beauty out of myself. I love that. And it was born from a lot of pain that I experienced this year as well. So yeah.
You were Miss Universe in 2015. Yes. I mean, you're so beautiful. Like,
Thank
so
you.
It's not. But what was your what did beauty mean to you at the time? Like when you decided that you were going to go on the show competition. What did beauty mean to you at the time?
Going for Miss Universe for me, I wanted everybody to see my heart. And it's so weird that you're going to showcase your smile and your beauty and then you want people to see your heart. But I really, I thought that when I go on a show like that, people would see that a beautiful woman on the outside is also a beautiful woman on the inside. That beauty radiates from inside. It sounds so cliche, and this is probably the most beauty pageant answer ever. But beauty does come from within you, and I feel like we don't take stock of that. And so when I went on that competition, it was guys, see me. I'm, you know, beautiful. Beauty is not just this thing. I'm a smiley person. Like if you're feeling down, you can come to me. I'll give you a hug, type of thing. And I wanted to put my best foot forward for my country. So that's why I entered. Do you think you did that? I think I did that. I think people think that when if you didn't win, I didn't win. Or she lost then. She didn't make the most of her opportunity. But I did, because I made a lot of friends. A lot of people that your lives were touched by and you touched their lives. That's important. That's meaningful. Let's stop putting, you know, the
prices.
Crowd,
like if I don't, like
if I didn't get this, then I was nothing. No, you didn't get the crown, great, but you became this woman that, you know, you're able to speak in public. You're able to walk in front of thousands of people in public. You know, you count the other blessings and you see it as a blessing.
It builds your confidence.
It builds your confidence.
That's. I feel like it's so interesting. I used to be so shy.
Really? You do not seem shy at all.
What? This year made it 3 years since I started YouTube. And every time I watch my first YouTube video, I cringe. I think that's normal. But the girl that is sitting here starting a show, Unpack with Nay, is not who I was 3 years ago. And I feel like what you said about, I feel like it's just a journey. What you said about how like people associate, like we often just like associate things to prices.
Yes.
Like, so if I don't win, if I don't come first, if I don't have these many followers, maybe I have failed. And I feel like with YouTube or with like just life in general, you can often just feel that way. Like, oh, I'm not moving, I'm not growing. And it can look like that from the outside. Like on YouTube, maybe, oh, you don't have 1,000 subscribers, you have 10,000, you have 100,000. But I had to start my YouTube channel to be able to do this. So the girl who started YouTube 2020 would literally just laugh. Like, she'd be so shocked that I'm doing this right now. So I feel like everything is just like a journey and like what you learn from it.
And what you take out of it.
Yeah.
It's a process, actually.
You know, and I feel like it just also comes down to this like self-love journey, self-acceptance, self-care. And I think that we have romanticized that on the internet. So what does self-love, self-care, what does self-love mean to you? Like, how do you practice self-love to yourself?
So you know when you say that we've romanticized it, you're so right.
Yeah, because it's like, oh, that girl routine, this girl routine.
We've made it into a cloak that we wear, and we're not doing the work of it. So when you meet people in real life, it's you're talking about self-love, but I can see because when you do love yourself, it radiates from you. Yeah. But if you're going to speak about self-love and I'm going to meet you in person and you're not radiating self-love, then you're wearing it as a cloak. Yeah. You're not becoming it.
It's pretentious.
It's pretentious. Yeah. So for me, self-love has nothing to do with announcing that I love myself. Yeah. And it has nothing to do with work. It's not, and I mean, there's nothing wrong. I love face masks, I love pampering myself. I enjoy that. What I love to do actually is around that. I love when you take care of yourself. I love
wellness.
You know, wellness and all of that stuff, healthy living and all of that stuff. But usually that starts from the inside. Yeah. It actually starts with the ugly bits. So the ugly bits is, for instance, I was also not a confident person. And you might not...
Really? Wow. It's shocking.
I was also not a confident person. Yeah. And I realized that it was from years of when I was younger. So when I was younger, when I was a teenager, I had acne. I had the broadest shoulders known to man, according to me.
Wow, really?
Yes.
Girl.
According to me, my shoulders were so broad and it didn't fit. I wanted to be a model, more like a proper, runway model. And then they were like, you're short. And I'm like, I'm short, but my shoulders are the shoulders of a 6'2" human being. Why am I too short for this runway? You know, it's like, you people give me a chance, I can walk type of thing. So I didn't even realize that those things were affecting my confidence. Like somebody would see you and be like, oh, one time, a lady saw me in the bank. I think it was GT, and I was on the queue, and she said, but you are fine, Sha. But this acne all over your face. I've never seen you or anything in my life. And the first thing you're telling me is that I would have been fine if not for the acne on my face.
Can you imagine?
So I was just like, so rude. You know, and then with me, I always internalize stuff. I'm not the sort of person to speak out. Yeah. That's why I journal, because I find it difficult to speak about my feelings. So I'm like, wow, so that means I'm not fine.
Because I have acne.
Because I have acne. And then a lot of the things that made me feel bad about my physical looks allowed me to instead work on my inside. So I didn't really feel that, you know, I wasn't curvy, I wasn't tall, I had broad shoulders, I had acne, and I had big cheeks. So all of these were all a recipe for a very unattractive woman, according to me. Yeah. So now I had to be beautiful on the inside. So if I'm going to be friendly, I know that I have to be genuine. If I'm making friends, I'm genuine with you. If I'm talking to somebody, I'll be kind. So I started taking stock of my inner, I guess, abilities, so that it starts radiating from the outside. And I guess that's what that was for me.
It's so interesting because a lot of people don't do the inside work. It's so literally, it's so performative right now. Self-love. Yes. Oh my God. I feel like most people just think it's even by saying the words.
Yes.
Oh, or maybe I've just had a self-care day, or but like they don't actually like look inwards on how they're feeling inside and just
And it's a lot of honesty. Yeah. It's you being, because like I used to always tell my sister, like, if you can't be honest with yourself, is it you that's going to be honest with me? Like if I go somewhere and I notice that I was rude to the staff, when I get home, it's like, wow, gee, why were you rude to that person?
But that's also because like you know how to introspect.
Perhaps.
A lot of people are just like just running from their emotions, you know, or just the world is so filled with noise. So it's so hard to like shut it out. Yes. Shut out the noise and actually sit with yourself and like think about how you're actually feeling. This year, I I don't eat anything that doesn't spark joy.
Wow.
Yeah. Like I feel like in my relationship with food, I feel like that's another conversation, but my relationship with food has changed so much. I feel like I was so focused in the last couple of years on like eating healthy, and which I still try to do, but I am not going to deprive myself of a burger. Like I wake up and legit ask myself, what will bring me joy today? Like I don't even want to watch something. I was reading a book. One of my best friends gave me a book to read the other day, and she really liked the book. So I said, oh, okay, I'll read about it's about connections and just like, making conversations with people. So I started reading the book and I'm just like, I wasn't feeling it. First of all, I'm not a big reader. So this was me. I said at the beginning of the year that I'll read one book every month. I've only finished one book this year. So this was me. That's like progress. Giving.
You're still doing
I'm trying.
It. You're still trying.
The year has not finished. But this was me giving that book that my best friend liked like a chance because she liked it. So I'm reading the book and I'm just like, I'm not really feeling this book. So I had a conversation with her and I'm like, oh, I don't think I'm going to continue reading the book because it just wasn't speaking to me. She's like, oh, that's fine. And then we go on to have the conversation about how I'm not feeling it because I just feel like I cannot relate to it. This is not something that I struggle with. And yes, you enjoyed it, but because I'm trying to be so in tune with how I'm really feeling, I'm not going to do something that I don't like, something that doesn't spark joy, something that I'm not learning from. If I was learning from it, I wouldn't close it.
Yes.
But because maybe I could have given it another, no, it just wasn't doing it for me.
Wasn't doing it.
And I'm just like, so I'm just trying to relate this to the fact that like, I just like to chase joy or things that bring me pleasure. So, but not like pleasure in the bad way. So like little things like, what would I have for breakfast today? What's going to spark joy for me? That's how I eat.
I need to learn that.
Like my brother would just be like, okay, everyone around me knows like Angel has to eat something that sparks joy.
I need to learn that.
And I love food.
I need to learn that.
But the thing is, also my identity, did you ever read the book Atomic Habits?
Yes, I have it.
Yeah, so yeah, it talks about like, finding your identity first. So my identity, the woman I want to be, eats healthy. She works out. Like, I already work out. I already try to eat healthy. So my first choice would possibly be a healthy meal. Most times they're healthy like meals, right? But sometimes what will spark joy for me that day will not be a healthy meal.
Right.
It can be amala. And the crazy thing about it is I'm not going to say, oh, because, I'm working out and I'm trying to eat healthy, I am not going to eat amala. I'm going to order the amala because that's how I'm really feeling. So I feel like most people haven't tapped into the essence of just feeling, like understanding how they feel and not being influenced by other people's opinions or like decisions. So because my friend is doing this, I want to do this. But is that what Angel really wants to do? So it's just a discrepancy in like...
I like when you said about like what you're feeling, taking stock of how you're feeling. We don't do that.
Yeah.
And I think maybe we get judged for doing that in this part of the world, where it's like, oh, for us, it looks like it's like a herd. Like when you do things everybody else is doing, you get more acceptance. But when you're the only person standing in the corner, nobody is looking your side. That's how it is here that I've learned how it works here. So when you start listening to your feelings, it's like, whether my friend is doing this, I will choose to do this. That's a different path that you're charting on your own.
I feel like it just takes a lot of bravery. So I don't know how to phrase what I'm trying to say, but you know how like you start something and then people start to copy you? So you just have to be brave and start something. Then next thing, someone sees it and feels like, I like this, so it feels like something I can do. Then they jump on it, and then it becomes a whole thing.
Yes.
So bravery is like the first like step to like just starting anything out of the norm, because eventually people will catch up.
They'll do.
And then they'll start copying you.
Yes.
But yeah. So what are some like healthy boundaries that you've set like around yourself, like the person that you are right now, the person that you're building? What are some boundaries that you set?
So growing up, I was a really sweet child, like always super smiley. But I think that also turned into me not knowing my limits. Like I would bend over backwards for people and become a doormat. Like to the point where, I guess because I would refer to myself as an empath. So I feel things very deeply. Now, if somebody comes to me and says, oh, this is how I'm feeling about this, I want to help. I want to be a part of making that better for you. And then people don't also know when to stop collecting from you. So you now become this, you start absorbing so much energy from different people, and then you eventually become a doormat where it's like, oh yeah, Debbie's always going to be there. She's always going to be available type of thing. Now I had to do the hard work of making sure that I will come. I'm kind though, but you will not stretch me past my limits. And that doormat that I used to be in high school, the person that, would take anything. My sister's always saying, Debbie, when somebody shouts at you, you just look at them. I'm like, because to be fair, it's not going to affect me. If I do insult you back, you will go home because I know you have not dealt with the things
that you say to them.
If I say something to you, you will go home and you probably think about it for 2 months.
I don't want you to say
not
anything
say
to me,
anything
please.
to you. I will rather, it's fine, you're shouting, you're insulting me, I will take it. But I know how to deal with that. So for me, building boundaries, I've had to just not let people take my kindness for granted. Not take my niceness kindness for granted.
I feel like we're mirroring each other's lives because I used to be like that at some point in my life. Like I was just such maybe a people pleaser. Like I would just give myself. And people, because you haven't set the boundaries or because you haven't communicated, right? Sometimes they know what they're doing, sometimes they don't. But whatever the case, they are benefiting from whatever it is because they come to you for something, right? So you just keep taking, and you're giving. But I feel like one thing I have, one of the boundaries that I'm learning to set this year is to say no.
Yes. My no's have been so strong this year.
No.
Like when I told you, it's like the no's are coming. And I think no is so empowering. Yes, it's great. But sometimes when you say no, it's like it comes from a place.
Sometimes, what's this woman's name? Tracy Ellis Ross. She's like, no is a complete sentence.
Yes.
You don't even need to explain. Like, you don't need to say, oh, this is why I said no. Like, it's just like, no.
No,
I don't want to do it.
Yes, I don't want to.
And I feel like I just had this conversation with my friend last night, and we are setting boundaries because she can be, like, she doesn't open up. And yesterday she opened up to me and we had a conversation and she was just like, thank you so much for listening to me. Like, it really made me feel, better and everything. So I'm like, okay, going forward, right? Like, it would be nice if you want to unpack with me, if you want to have a conversation with me and just like pour yourself to me, just ask me.
To see if I'm in that emotional space.
Yes.
If I have the capacity.
If I have the capacity, And then I said to her that, and please understand that when I can't talk, be reassured that it's not because I'm ignoring you. Right. It's not because I don't want to talk to you. Just be rest assured that I love you and I just can't talk right now because I just can't talk. But know that when I'm in the mood to have a conversation, not in the mood, but when I can have a conversation with you, I will reach out and I will be there for you. And I remember just going to bed feeling like that was a very good conversation. Like, Angel of a couple years. Did she take it well? Yeah, she did. Like, she even, because she's very smart. Like, she's very, like, she knows how to take stock of her feelings, but sometimes, like, she's still a bit guarded. Because sometimes you don't know how people react to things. People can be weird. But I was just so thankful for how the conversation went, because it was a good, mature conversation that I know that I can't even have with some of the friends that I have right now. But yeah, she surprisingly took it really well. And I just feel like if we did that a lot more as a community of people, just have like honest, open conversations, like maybe the world would be a better place. Maybe Nigeria will be a better place. Maybe people will stop honking,
and then stop taking so much offense to things. That's something that I've learned this year as well. It's not everything that is you. It's not directed at you. If you were not smiling at me, it was probably because somebody, you heard a bad news on the phone. It has nothing. Don't internalize every single thing that comes your way that's negative, because then you're carrying all this stuff, but it's not even supposed to be yours to carry.
I feel like this conversation has just been going the way that I wanted it to go. Like, we were just talking about how like we have so much in common, and we've never like sat down to have conversations like this. But when you watch someone from afar, I feel like I like to think that I'm good at like reading like energies. And when I was thinking about like the framing of our conversation today, I really just wanted to talk about like feminine energy, and I feel like everything that we've spoken about is like the core of feminine energy.
Yes.
So all the self-work that has to be done, to just like radiate that. I feel like people often misunderstand or, what's the word? They mix up feminine energy and femininity, but in its core, feminine energy is everything that we've discussed. Like, self-love, self-care, like healthy boundaries, being able to like receive things and knowing when to like, draw back and everything. So Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for just being very, very, very open. And in the spirit of like, self-care and self-love, when you want to feel very, like just great, like what are some like self-care like habits or things that you do to just feel good?
So I take walks.
Oh, I like that.
I love taking walks.
Me too.
And when I do so these days I've started doing something where I take walks without my music.
Really? Before I should try that. I don't do music. I do like podcasts.
I don't listen to anything.
Oh, I love that.
So before I would just have like energetic walk. I'm listening to something blasting in my ears. Now I listen to nature. And there's nature in Lagos.
No, because my estate has a lot of trees. So
wow, you should totally walk.
Yeah, but I feel like it's a family estate, so there are a lot of kids. So for me, when I'm taking my walks, I just like wear my headphones and I'm listening to a podcast, and I'm not pressing my phone. I'm not on, like sometimes maybe like my brother, someone calls, and interrupts me. But ideally, what I like to do is just be with my podcast and just hold on to it. But yeah, I like the idea of the nature
yes,
walk.
I take walks. I observe the sunsets because I like taking walks in the evening.
Yeah.
I'll listen to like the trees. Sometimes it's windy because I live close to the water, so there's wind, and I enjoy that. And I'm with my thoughts. So sometimes I pray when I'm walking. Sometimes I just, Debbie, so how's things going? And I'm putting that in my head, and I'm thinking, and I'm even having ideas. Sometimes I actually need to even write on my phone.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. You have your phone, right?
I have my phone. I'm like, wow, this just came to me, and it's like, I'm writing ideas. So, it just shows me that we thrive in quietness.
Yes.
That's just what that showed me. And I do it more now. Yeah. So I don't listen to anything.
And that's why some people get like the best ideas when they're taking a shower.
Yes.
Because like, you're like, showering and it's just you and the running water. And it's just
nobody is talking
talking in your ear.
There's no music blasting in your ear.
I like that.
So I think for me, self-care now is I'm taking in a lot of quietness. And I've had such great ideas this year. Quietness, walking. I like the ocean, so any chance to go to the beach, I'll go there.
We should go to the beach together.
We need to go to the beach together. That would be such a fun day.
Yeah.
And I like to sleep. I really like myself. Like I like spending time alone.
I love that.
When I'm at home, I put on music and I will dance. I dance in my underwear all the time.
I haven't done that. My brother and I used to have dance parties. We used to have dance parties like a couple of years ago. Like we listen to like Florence and the Machine, Perfume Genius. We just like boom, boom, we'll go on the floor.
It is the most
And I was telling him like 2 weeks ago, last week, I'm like, we don't dance anymore. We need to start dancing.
You know what's weird?
We need to start
all
dancing.
Of those habits build up into you being either an uptight person, a person that's always anxious, or someone that just is constantly in the state of receiving, like you mentioned earlier.
Yes.
So if you're doing habits, and these habits don't cost money.
They
so when
really
somebody says, oh, I can't enjoy myself in Lagos, I can't have self-care.
Right.
If you stand outside, there's some places that you need to find, you can walk.
Yeah.
When there's wind and there's breeze and there's trees.
Or even create a little corner.
Or you can create a little corner in your room where you have a candle and you sit with a book.
And just sit with yourself.
Or you put on YouTube and you dance. Like what I love, when I get home, I put on my music, I'm dancing. I'm like, I can't dance. And you also can't dance. So I don't know, what do we want to do?
Move our bodies off camera. Move our bodies because I can't dance to save my life.
That's one thing I know about you, that you can't dance. Oh my days.
If you say dance for 10 million naira now, I will lose the 10 million.
Okay, no, I'll get it. I'll get the 10 million. No, I'll get it for both of us.
I just embarrassed myself on camera.
Oh my days.
Okay, so
but like dancing in your underwear, please do that in front of a mirror. Everybody needs to start doing that from today. Like it's the best thing in the world.
We're going to do that. I'm going to do that when I get home today.
Yes, please do it.
Yeah.
Walking, sleep.
Yeah,
I like my sleep time. Don't distract me.
Do you have like do you have a sleep routine?
No.
That's something I'm trying to get into because
why do you need a routine to sleep?
It sets the foundation because I would like to wake up early. So there's a time in my life I was waking up at 5:30 and I can't explain it to you, but that was like one of the happiest and most peaceful times in my life because I realized I'm a morning person. I like watching the day break. When that golden hour from like 7:30 to 8 o'clock, I love it. And the way my room is set up and when the lights just keep coming into the room, it just looks so beautiful. And sometimes I'm laying in bed, I'm like, wow. And sometimes before I actually set to write my gratitude, I'm thinking it. So I'm watching it come through. I'm just like, wow, I'm so thankful to be in this space. It looks so beautiful. These days I'm realizing that I'm more, the things that I'm yearning for is just more so like nature stuff. Like I want to be around the water. I want to be around sunsets. I want to, take walks and all of that. So for me, I like mornings. And like people, especially in Lagos, it's so quiet, surprisingly quiet. So if you wake up at like 5:30 or 6 o'clock, okay, 6 o'clock now, right, and just watch the day break, it's beautiful. So it goes from being very quiet to hearing the birds chirping and everything to bam, 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 bam,
yes.
you know. And when I used to edit a lot, I used to edit at that time. So from 8 to 10, I would edit and I feel so good. So I've fallen off that morning routine and I've realized that to have that morning, because I love sleep, right? If I want to wake up at 6 o'clock, I have to sleep
earlier.
So
that's my problem.
So to sleep early, you need a sleep routine.
That's my
so
problem.
Sleep at 10, right? Try to sleep at 10 so you can wake up at 6. 8 hours, okay. Bad as the bad. Sleep at 11 so you can wake up at 6. So you have 7 hours of sleep. So that's why I want a sleep routine.
I think I should actually start doing that then,
Yeah.
because I find it so difficult to go to bed
Yeah.
at a particular time.
Yeah.
And then it ruins my morning.
Yeah, so sometimes like some weeks are really good for me, but I love Mondays because every Monday I'm like, I'm eating clean this week. Every Monday I'm like, I'm waking up at 10 p.m. You know, Mondays for me are like a fresh start. You know, so if I didn't sleep early the day before, I'm not going to feel like I failed. You know, then I just like keep pushing the next week or something. So I think like having like a nice sleep routine, and people will also say like keeping your phone away from you before you go to bed really helps. But that's something I struggle with. But these days I'm actually trying. I don't pick calls. Like my friends, I feel like they know me. Don't call me at night. You get like
my phone is off at 10. Like not off, but like my answering phone calls is off at a certain time in the night as well.
I won't pick calls. I'll just put my phone to plug and like just like turn on my diffuser, turn on some music. I have like listen to this meditation like playlist on Spotify, and it just sounds like it be like yoga sounds and stuff, and I drift. So that like kind of like keeps you centered.
We're so similar.
I know. It keeps you so centered, and this has been amazing.
Yes.
Amazing. I feel like we could just like go on and on and on about like self-love, self-care. But thank you so much for coming.
This was
and
so
I really
great.
enjoyed this, and I feel like
so
we're going to
good.
continue having this conversation off camera. But before we go, I want you to say 3 things that you're grateful for.
3 things I'm grateful for.
Last time we did this, woo,
I burst into tears.
the tears.
So I'm not going to burst into tears today.
Yeah,
I'm very grateful for my relationship with God.
I love that.
I think that's what's the foundation. That's the foundation for everything that's going to come to me and the things I'm currently experiencing.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for my sister.
Yeah.
She's living this journey with me.
She's still here?
Yes, she's still
Still
here.
haven't met her. We should
No.
plan something. Yeah, we never met. You
know
said we
what?
look
We have-
alike.
yes.
Yeah, we should do
And
something.
I'm constantly showing her your pictures.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you guys need to meet.
We've never
this
met.
girl is like this. She's like that. She's like, okay, Debbie. All right, Debbie.
Yeah,
so we
we
should totally do
something. Yeah, we
something.
should do
But I'm
something.
so grateful for her. She's such a support system
Yeah,
to me.
that's my sister
I'm grateful
too,
for my
yeah.
family. Like my family, my parents, my siblings, they're amazing. I'm grateful for the ability to break and be reborn. Yes.
Rebirth.
I'm grateful for Rebirth. Actually, funny enough, one of my
That's it,
brands is
yeah.
called Rebirth.
Yeah.
And it's so great that it's actually funny because I'm embodying that.
Yeah.
Where it's like the breaking happens, but there's a chance for something beautiful to also be born out of it. So, yes, I'm grateful for those 3 things.